Break it down.
Yes, sir.
Baltimore police! Give me some light.
It's empty.
It's impossible. We heard the door lock. Damn it, the window!
It's nailed shut.
Dear God.
with kittens.
The ways of God and nature, as in providence, are not our ways.
Lovely to see you all again. Hello, Reagan. Did you miss me? I'm naturally delighted to be back in Baltimore. In all honesty, feeling a bit under the weather. However, it has been said that what brandy cannot cure has no cure. So what say you to a snifter of an old ailing friend? I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
But to assume then that you're out of brandy?
I got many bottles.
So it's a question of finances.
I don't mean to shock you, Poe, but we haven't seen you in a while. Last time you were here, well, things got rather ugly.
Been back in town only a few days to find, quite shockingly, I might add, I seem to have exhausted any sort of credit I once had. Fine. If it's money you want. Try not to shit yourself. That's real. And spot these sailors around, too, on me. Christ, man, now what?
That'll just about cover the last tab.
Are you really gonna be this cruel? The Patriot is publishing one of my reviews tomorrow. I'll be flush as a sultan by dawn.
If the paper publishes anything you write, you come back tomorrow, I'll buy you the shop.
Tomorrow? Tomorrow I might be dead. Or you might be.
I'll risk it.
How's this? I get a drink for any man here who recognizes me or one of my poems.
You better get to the door before I split your head open.
My head is already split open, you overgrown mouth breather. So show me some respect or I'll give you a personal tour. An internationally lauded poet.
That's why you got no money.
I am Poe.
That's what I said.
Not poor, mouth breather. Poe. Poe. Edgar Allan Poe. Does it ring a bell?
No.
A drink to any man in this room who can finish this line. Quote the Raven. Piss off! Why, I plead daily. I repeat, quote the Raven.
Nevermore!
Ha! Ha!
It is a very favorite poem.
Vive la France! Slobs! Philistines! You wouldn't recognize an authentic American literary voice if it hissed in one ear and slithered out the other.
Yeah, but we know other things. Like how much it hurts to pick your teeth up off a fool with broken fingers.
Is that the limit to your imagination, you mental oyster? Huh? I can conjure a multitude of more exquisite torments. Your eyeball is all in a teaspoon of lime. Your tongue torn from your throat with a blacksmith's tongue. Shut up! An animal boiling tar. A testicle impaled on a kebab. Get out, you shit!
Slowly. Here. Put her down. She's just a girl. What kind of monster would do this?
Catherine LaFord, 36. Her daughter Anna, 12.
She was strangled.
She's so young.
He was a large man. By the extent of his grip, well over 8 inches from thumb to forefinger. Captain, your men agree that someone locked the door from the inside?
Absolutely. We heard the door locked just as we arrived.
But by the time you broke down the door, the murderer was gone.
Not a trace.
And the window was closed when you came into the room?
Not just closed, nailed shut.
Tell me, how does such a large man escape so quickly from a room in which the door has been locked from the inside? And the window nailed shut?
I'm not sure, but the mayor wants results this time, Inspector.
Have your men question the neighbors. I want a list of all the men who visited these premises.
Yes, sir.
A lock. Triggered by a spring.
With the nail,
Cut mid-shaft.
I checked that window 10 times and I never found that spring.
I wouldn't have found it either, except...
What is it?
This crime is familiar to me.
Not again, Mr. Poe. Christ.
Good morning, Percy.
Not very depressing.
Captain Hamilton, I have no intention of asking for money.
What do you want, Poe?
I've come back to town for your daughter, Charles.
Over my dead body.
Is that an option?
Oh, please. You know, I find you as revolting as some of your stupid stories.
Some, but not all. You look lovely today, by the way.
Get out, Poe. Before I shoot you where you sit.
And risk splattering blood and brains over your daughter's fine silk dress.
Out.
Suppose an invitation to the upcoming costume ball is completely out of the question.
Father, don't.
Sorry, Charles. See you at the track.
See you, Edgar.
Another abject humiliation.
Please, Percy! I have children! Why are you doing this? Why? I'm only a critic!
Good morning, Baltimore Patriots.
Mr. Poe, your clothes.
Just beating the mudslingers to it. Fortitude, Ivan. Fortitude.
I'm afraid you might need more than this, Mr. Poe.
Why?
It's a crime, Mr. Poe. A terrible crime.
Out with men. What is it? Did that marsupial of an editor dare to change my review again?
I told him not to touch it. I told him, Mr. Poe.
Where's my review? Where is it? What has he done?
He said there was no more room in the layout.
No more room. No more room. Pray tell, what fine twat did he deem more worthy? Longfellow! 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 Where is it?
Where is what?
The trash bin. That is exactly where all of this brain-sucking, soul-warping fish rap should be put.
That's lovely, Eddie. That's a real show of adjectival fireworks from the great Poe himself.
Not only do you refuse to print my review of Longfellow, but you run his third-rate poem instead.
People like Longfellow.
That's because editors like you tell them to. Have you no soul, Henry? Doesn't the artistic enrichment of your readers mean a goddamn thing to you?
Artistic enrichment? You've got some gall barging into my office and lecturing me when all you do is criticize other people's work.
Not true at all.
You called Emerson a sad, festering literary whore, and I quote...
Because he is precisely that. Is honesty now a vice, or do you prefer that jaded hack Griswold fawning over some steaming mound of hackneyed tripe?
Yeah, doesn't think much of your stuff, does he?
The man's a complete intellectual nonentity. He's an absolute buffoon, which is probably why he finds so much of a home here with you.
Now you're out of control.
I'm broke.
Then try writing another Telltale Heart. People love blood. They love death.
Don't you think if I couldn't churn out another Telltale Heart or a Pit and a Pendulum, I wouldn't indenture my very soul to the devil? Henry, you've got to publish my review. I'm desperate.
Look, I need stories. Gripping stories.
I've got nothing left. I've used up all my tricks.
And try laying off the liquor and the tinctures, because it's rotting your brain.
I only drink occasionally, to be social, to alleviate my shyness. And the tinctures are purely therapeutic. Slight palliative against the chill of an orphan's despair.
Write me something I can sell.
You're a real bastard, Henry.
Why are you doing this? Why? What have I done? Please, God, no!
Consider, Carl, if you will, the human heart. This small chamber, a vacancy where gases are wed to fluids and all the secrets and mysteries of our species are hidden. Write another telltale.
You think you're so clever, don't you?
Miss Hamilton.
The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the clouds by night, chilling and killing my Annabelle Lee.
Continue.
But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabelle Lee.
Do you like it?
I think that it is the most romantic thing I've ever read. So, I had to hear about your stunt all afternoon.
Just wanted to see if I could get that little vein on the side of his neck to finally explode.
I think Father has begun to suspect.
Yes. Well, I consider it my duty to wrestle you away from that gun-toting Philistine.
And into the arms of you, of all people?
Who better?
Then why do you always antagonize him?
I can't help it. I despise people who despise me.
Edgar, we need to talk. What is Carl eating?
A heart.
A human heart?
Mm-hmm.
How in heaven did you come by a human heart?
Ed Admire works at the morgue. I was searching for inspiration.
So tell me again exactly how much money you made from your self-proclaimed world-famous poem about that bird.
Raven, $9. But did I mention that it's world famous?
Edgar. Edgar. We can't go on like this.
Emily, what do you want?
To begin with, I want you to get up off your knees unless you intend to use that position for another purpose.
The imagination reels with possibilities. But what did you have in mind specifically?
A proposal.
You mean marriage?
It's not such a horrible thought. People still do it from time to time.
Really, when?
When they're in love, I suppose.
If I were in love with that person, would I think about them all the time?
Most likely.
And would I spend every waking moment desiring to smother the other with affection?
It has been described as such.
Emily, you are my greatest and only inspiration. Emily Hamilton, will you be my wife?
Yes. I love you. You're ridiculous, man.
Now, what do we do about your dear, dear gun-toting father?
I've been thinking about that. We'll tell him at my birthday ball. In front of all of Baltimore.
If I were a better man, I'd forbid it.
But you're not.
No.
I found some possibilities for you, Inspector. All are gruesome, if you ask me.
A careful search soon brought to light the hidden spring. I pressed it and, satisfied with the discovery, forbore to upraise the sash. That's it. Edgar Allan Poe.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on that pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming. The lamplight o'er him steaming throws his shadow on the floor. My soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted. Nevermore. Who's next?
Well, it's called The Butterfly and the Bee.
An exquisite title, Mrs. Bradley.
The butterfly, to her brother bee, did sing a song of spring. Come, listen to my ode of thee, thou honey-making thing.
Stop, please.
It's terrible. I suspected it was.
Thou honey-making thing.
I attempted to rhyme the lyric.
You've succeeded. The juxtaposition of the beauty of nature with the horrors of our recently mechanized society, reducing Brother Bee to nothing more than a honey-making thing, a meaningless cog bound for destruction within the machine of nature. It's brilliant, Mrs. Bradley. It's terrifying, but it's brilliant.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. There's someone here to see you.
Excellent. Who is it?
Mr. Poe?
Get me here. Hand off your badge. What's going on?
Why would hair be attracted to a magnet?
What?
Soot is merely carbon residue from coal and wood.
Am I under arrest?
I'm Detective Fields. Please sit down, Mr. Poe.
Yes, the infamous Detective Fields. Am I under arrest?
No, not as yet.
Then I'd rather stand. It makes it easier to leave.
I'm a reader of your work.
Well, I admit that many of my admirers have gone to great lengths to meet me.
I didn't say I was an admirer.
And yet, you read them.
The night before last, a young girl and her mother were found murdered. The daughter's body was lodged in a chimney. The mother's head was nearly severed with a straight razor. The killer eluded capture through a window in which a lock was feigned with a nail sawn in half. Does any of this sound familiar to you, Mr. Poe?
But you're talking about my story. work of fiction.
I'm afraid I'm not. According to various witnesses, you were seen drunk 2 nights ago in a tavern near the harbor. What time did you leave?
I don't remember. My leaving was involuntary. Do you actually think that I murdered these people?
May I see your hand?
Which one?
Either will do. Perhaps with the aid of accomplices, such a scenario might be conceivable. However, improbable. Yet what cannot be disputed is the fact that your imagination is the inspiration of a horrendous crime.
Am I to be charged then? Is imagination now a felony?
Come.
Inspector, can I have a word? This is Henry Maddox, editor of the Baltimore Patriot. He was brought in to identify the body.
His name was Griswold. Ludwig Griswold.
He worked for you?
Freelance as a writer.
What kind of things did he write?
Some poetry, mostly criticism, you know, the easy stuff.
Did he by chance have any kind of a relationship with Edgar Allan Poe?
Of course, they hated each other. Had a vicious feud about a year ago. Sold a lot of papers.
How long have you known Mr. Poe?
Edgar? Well, past 10 years.
You published another one of his stories, The Murders in the Rue Morgue.
He wrote that one several years back when he was in Philadelphia. I reprinted it a couple of times here. People loved the gory ones.
So they do.
Edgar isn't a suspect, is he, Inspector?
At this point, everyone is a suspect, Mr. Maddox.
Forgive me. I know there is a darkness to Edgar, but they're all up in here. Every woman he's ever loved has died in his arms. Now, I believe that God gave him a spark of genius and quenched it in misery. But as far as something like this, the only thing he's ever killed is a bottle of brandy.
Thank you for your time, sir. I know this may come as a shock to you, Mr. Poe, but we are in dire need of your unwholesome expertise.
I really hadn't imagined the counterweight to be so large.
We have reason to believe you knew the victim.
Really?
If you would.
I don't believe I know him.
And perhaps this will jar your memory. Never has the perfunctoriness of plot been so mechanized and twisted by soulless contrivance as in... So you do know him?
Yes. We traded barbs, as in words, not actual weapons of any sort. As writers are wont to do to sell a few newspapers or gain a little favor.
The Pit and the Pendulum, when was it published?
42. Tales of Ratiocination.
Are there other stories in the collection?
Many.
Specifically about murder?
I'm afraid so.
As unfortunate as this is, you may be uniquely qualified to cast light on our killer. There is a logic underlying these deaths.
Do you think this comes from a logical mind? Any man who can carve a human being in half doesn't come from a place of logic.
And from where?
Mental disease, obsession, passion.
I believe the killer is taunting us. He wants us to know he's gonna strike again. What do you make of this? It was covering the victim's face.
The mask of the Red Death.
What is it?
The quote from the story mentions Prospero, a character I created to symbolize man's arrogance even when confronted with certain death. Prospero hosts a costume ball where death comes in disguise. Charles Hamilton is hosting such a ball tomorrow night at the museum.
And one by one drop the revelers in their blood-bedewed halls of their revel. If the Mask of the Red Death is his next intended story, we must use this opportunity to capture this man at your costume ball, sir.
Too harsh. I want something older.
And darkness and decay.
6 cases should be enough.
And darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all.
So this gentleman dresses up like a what?
The figure was shrouded from head to foot in the habiliments of the grave.
Like a corpse, or a skeleton. At the stroke of midnight, he comes in and kills everybody. Poe is a damn viper. I ordered him away from Emily, and now he's trying to...
Sir, the similarities are too coincidental. I'm asking you again. Allow me to have my men scattered about your ball in costume so we can hopefully catch this monster.
I'll hire extra security myself, but I will not have this turned into some kind of policeman's ball. Understood?
I've seen the effects of this man's determination. If he has indeed chosen your gathering to...
You will not destroy an evening that Baltimore looks forward to every year.
Then I insist my officers be present.
Fine. Just make sure they scrape the shit off their boots. Who was Prospero?
He was the host of the ball. And the first to die.
She's so wonderfully full of life. I've been reading this wonderful story.
He's with me, and we were just leaving. Hello, Captain. Just wanted to prove how easy it was to penetrate the breach. I presume the police are here to keep me out.
Mr. Fields, I can assure you, if Mr. Poe is a part of your investigation...
Mr. Poe has a unique perspective on certain aspects of this crime.
Why, is the killer a raving alcoholic, an opium addict, an atheist?
An atheist? Ah, you misconstrue me, sir.
If you know what's good for you, Poe, you'd stay away from my daughter.
Father, I've decided to change my costume for the ball tomorrow night.
No. Mr. Fields, I'm happy to indulge your request for the additional security, but I warn you, if I see this man there tomorrow night, you will have to protect him from me.
Why do we need more security?
It appears my writing has become the inspiration to an actual killer. Quite gruesome, really. If I would have known my work would have had such a morbid effect on people, I would have devoted more time to eroticism.
You're a vile little man.
As I said, we were just leaving.
Yes. Percy, show this man to the door. Mrs. Bradley, could you join me in the other room?
What is going on?
Emily, I think we should reconsider our announcement.
Why? Are you backing out?
No, never. If your father sees me there tomorrow, he may have me shot. And there well may be a depraved killer on the guest list. It's a bit much for one night, don't you think?
I think it sounds thrilling.
Does it? Why?
How else should Edgar Allan Poe commit himself to eternal love other than under threat of death?
Grim Reaper, a ghost, the Headless Horseman, if you like. He should be easy to spot. Aldridge, take some of these men and patrol the back.
Sir.
Move out.
Yes, sir.
You must Must be selling a hell of a lot of newspapers these days, Henry. 2 murders in 1 week.
Circulation has indeed improved, despite unfortunate events. Time for piss.
May I have this dance?
Not now.
I'm not sure what's troubling you, but your future happiness means more to me than I could possibly describe.
I really hope you feel that way at the end of the evening.
Whatever this is about, I need you to be a little more social. This is an important gathering for me and for us.
Father, I know what's expected.
Excuse me. Please, step aside. Step aside.
Fields men aren't causing any trouble, are they?
No, sir.
What about Poe? Any sign of them?
Not so far.
Glass one.
Can never dissever my soul from the soul of the... I'm sorry, I'm waiting for someone. Of the beautiful Annabelle Lee. You dance passionately, sir.
If I could, I would dance with you throughout time.
I love you, Edgar.
And I you. You really are a reckless girl. To dance with a stranger in a mask. With a murder in our midst. Speaking of which...
Courage, Edgar.
Miss Hamilton, this way.
He told me you'd ordered it for the party.
Who?
Who ordered it?
I'm supposed to deliver this.
My daughter. He has her.
Percy! Seal off this building!
Find her!
Now! Come on!
I challenge the brilliant detective mind of Edgar Allan Poe, a game of wits with Emily's life in the balance. You will immortalize for the exquisite pleasure of your readers this, your very own descent into the maelstrom, which shall appear in serial form in the Baltimore Patriot. Know that I will kill again, and on that new corpse I will leave you clues that will lead to Emily. If I do not read a vivid accounting of this convergence of fact and fiction, then dear Emily will die. Your only hope is to imagine a way to save her. I dare you to try to conceive of the painstaking care I have taken to secure her and the elegant means leading inexorably to her end. Are you up to the task, Mr. Poe? Are you even capable of imagining the means to save your beloved's life? Or shall this tale end as all your stories do, with madness, sin, and horror, the soul of the plot?
Your men are right. I've killed her.
We must assume Miss Hamilton is still alive.
Why must we assume that? Because it's more convenient to do so? Why am I to blame? Where were all these officers last night? Where were you? He told you he was coming!
Mr. Poe, listen to me. This killer is methodical. He will keep her alive to keep you involved. It's part of his game, and that's the logic that will trap him. It's the facts of this case that give us the advantage.
I tell your people to familiarize themselves with my face. They'll be seeing it every hour till my daughter is returned to me.
Mr. Hamilton, I am very sorry.
As well you should be. She was taken under your watch.
Sir, if you would please...
What the hell is he doing here?
Hey!
Arrest him. It's his fault.
There is plenty of fault to be passed around. I'm sure you understand what I mean by that, Mr. Hamilton. Now, Mr. Poe here is our only connection to the man who has your daughter. I suggest you remember that.
Out of the way.
We will reconvene in 2 hours. Until then, I want every street in Baltimore manned. Is that understood? Yes, sir.
Shut it, Emily. Or I'll shut it for you.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry.
The human body is to be revered. We must at all times be respectful. And remember that a cadaver is more than a mere learning tool. We shall examine the lungs. Now, this man is an alleged victim of consumption.
Professor? What is it?
Dear God.
She be a prostitute the way she's painted up.
Did you open this? Were your hands clean?
Yes. I don't believe I left that smudge, Inspector.
She must have fought him or scratched him.
She didn't fight him.
But there are no wounds on her wrists. It can't be her blood, Inspector.
You came at her from behind.
Strangled.
Another of your stories? Mr. Poe, I asked, is this another of your stories?
The mystery of Marie Rocher.
It's the same knot.
It's a bowline knot, to be exact. Just as it was in the story.
All right. Then what of it? Who was she?
She was a girl who worked in the stores in Paris, near the quay. She drowned. There was no mention of blood on her hands. He added that detail.
You must write it now. Every detail. The knot, her dress, her hands.
Her eyes, her hand. Her smile portended nothing. Her innocence was the first part of her soul to die. And while it happened, he stood still, watching to fully enjoy the dreadful metamorphosis from a life full of hope to a death without purpose.
Mr. Poe, I've been, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I was a little concerned about your,
My progress.
Yes.
I feel as if I've gone from author to character in one of my tales. As trapped and bedeviled as any of the hapless bastards I ever created.
I can appreciate that.
Regardless of what you think of me, Fields, I am a master of my art. And I will not fail her.
I know that. Look, I think I was overly harsh with you the other day, and for that, I'd like to apologize.
My wife was singing at the piano when she first coughed up blood. I prepared myself for the worst, but Virginia seemed to recover. And foolishly, I succumbed to hope. But by year's end, the blood came again. And again. Great effusions of blood. Raging fevers or sheets spattered with crimson, drenched with sweat. I often thought I could hear the sound of darkness as it stole across the horizon, rushing towards me. But here I was overwhelmed by a sorrow so poignant. When she finally died, I felt in all candor a great release. But it was soon supplanted by the return of that dark and morbid melancholy that has followed me like a black dog all my life. Until I met Emily. Time is running out, Inspector. Do you really believe she's still alive?
I'm sure of it.
Magnificent. Poe, you have done it again. The invention is breathtaking. The line of truth and fiction has never been so... I'm not sure about your headline.
Henry, you will not change one word.
Fine. Ivan. Reset page 1 immediately.
Melancholy has followed me like a black dog all my life.
I love you, Edgar.
Fields.
The blood, Paul. It's fake.
The blood.
On the prostitute. She's not a prostitute. It's stage blood. She's an actress.
Blood on the hands. Macbeth.
Exactly.
Looks like the hangman. Oh, the right bastard. Making money off the dead.
Cantrell is at the theater. All the exits are secured.
The Imperial, I'm assuming. My mother's playhouse.
The victim was still in her costume, would suggest she was abducted directly from the theater. We'll find her.
I would gladly give my life for hers, Mr. Fields.
I know you would.
Transport out, I say. 1, 2. The left is time to do it.
What the hell is happening? Who are you?
By order of the police department, I have a warrant to search these premises.
What for? There's a show going on.
Bring all your stagehands here now.
They have to man the ropes. First Lady Macbeth takes a powder, and now you bastards.
10 seconds.
Put out your hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, the play will resume shortly. Please take your seats.
You, step forth. Take off the gloves.
Is this your entire crew?
Yes,
Are you sure?
I am.
Count them again.
What are you doing? You know we got no more than 7 minutes before the act change.
You, where are you from?
Liverpool. Got 3 days shore leave to make some extra scratch. So if you don't mind, please.
Read it.
It's Macbeth. Another play.
Someone's missing. Who? Maurice.
Where is he?
I don't know, but nobody's allowed to leave until the show is over.
He's here.
If any of these men try to leave, shoot them.
Sir.
Put on your nightgown.
You there. Come out, show yourself.
Stop! Show yourself! I will kill you!
I have a pistol aimed on you. Come out now, put your hands where I can see them, or I will fire.
We stay here, okay?
What happened?
My pistol, I lost it. I saw him.
Damn it. Seal the doors! He's here!
Yes, sir. The missing stagehand. What was his name?
Maurice. Hey! Where's the crew keep their things? We have lockers downstairs.
Oh. Fields up here. What is that? Looks like a piece of fish.
That is a human tongue. What does it mean?
Wait, yes. The facts in the case of M. Valdemar. A man suspended between life and death by mesmerism. He's a living, conscious corpse who can only speak via the vibrations of his tongue. It's a bit of burlesque.
Mr. Poe,
The tongue isn't severed.
Mr. Poe. Sir, there's been an accident.
Come on, keep it going. We're gonna need more water. The fire's not gonna put itself out. Come on. Jack, get all those people back from the building. Please, get back. Move back. Don't stay. Get back, sir. Get back. Everybody, get back.
A damnation on earth. Hell's brimstone is food, consumed from birth in solitude.
Let's go, man! Move it!
The windows were shattered first. I don't think it was an accident.
I'm certain you're correct.
Sir, we also found this. Listen, I'd be happy to take it in if it's not yours. He's been sticking with us since we got here.
I can tell from the sound of his voice he's mine. Thank you, officer.
Switch out! Let's go! Yes, sir.
Why are you doing this to me? Please let me out. I can't. Yes, you can. You can. Please. I'm so cold. Why are you doing it? Please don't let me die in here.
Miss Hamilton.
Mr. Poe.
I'm afraid I found myself without lodgings.
Yes, I heard it.
I don't mean to impose.
Oh, yes, of course. Forgive me, please. Come in.
It appears to Baltimore I've become one of the very demons I conceived. Fire was intentional. Did you know that?
Yes, I heard. The town is angry. The mayor wants results.
Another set of unsolved murders, Inspector? Is that it? He was inches away if I hadn't dropped my weapon.
Perhaps. But we have made some headway. According to theater records, the sailor's name is Maurice Robichaud. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Cantrell and I made some inquiries at the docks. Apparently, he was signed on to a trading vessel which made port 5 days ago.
The start of the murders.
And like many sailors, he took employment at the theater working the backstage riggings. But as we know, he wasn't there today.
Everything down to our entrance was prearranged.
Look, it may be arduous, but I've learned in order to find a needle in a haystack, you simply have to go through the hay. These ship's records, I think...
Ship's records?
I must remind you, Mr. Poe, every detail here is essential.
Tell me, Emmett, are you not piqued by your abject failure to ferret out this assassin? Your reputation is at stake. Look at me. 4 people are dead. An angel breaks on the rack of some depraved beast. But this clerk squints over his eye shades at ledgers and timetables. And there's a fucking joke, boy!
What else should we do? Run around all of Baltimore screaming out her name?
Now, please, think. Start with a sailor. Have you ever written anything about a sailor?
No. Did you speak with the ship captain?
I did.
And?
Robichaud was a valued crewman. Well liked. Had a family back home.
Where?
In France.
Names?
Anything?
No. Yes, possibly. Who knows?
You see, what I keep asking myself is, why Baltimore? I mean, the Fortunato had docked in several ports around the world.
The what?
It's been all over the world.
The name of the ship, say it again.
Fortunato.
1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had borne as best I could.
What is that?
The first sentence of the Cask of Amontillado.
Go on.
A story I wrote about revenge. A man kills his rival by walling him up. The victim, named Fortunato, is entombed alive.
Where?
In the catacombs of a palazzo. The story set in Italy.
Well, there are no catacombs in Baltimore.
No. But there are tunnels underneath the city. The waterworks.
You are looking for anything that would indicate recently laid masonry. We will be timing this. I will blow my whistle as such. We will then shout her name in unison from all areas of the tunnels.
Emily!
There will be a pause of 10 seconds of absolute silence when we will listen for the smallest sound. Anything to indicate movement from behind the walls. If an officer detects something, he will blow his whistle, and we will examine the wall at that point. Are we clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then move out.
All right, come on.
Stand back.
What is it? Do you have her? Give me that.
What is it, Inspector?
Keep digging.
Yes, sir.
Not bemoan the sailor's life. He was always sure to die anyway. But his demise did serve a purpose of leaving you clues. Godspeed, Poe. Emily weakens by the hour, both physically and spiritually. I will kill him. No matter how this ends, I will kill this perversion of a man. For Godspeed, even his prose is barbaric.
Why would you dress him up like Miss Hamilton?
For the thrill of watching me suffer.
Here, John. Bring the light closer. I think I found something.
What is that?
Help me turn him over. All right, let go. I think we found our missing sailor.
It's a sextant.
Natural choice for a seaman, I suppose.
My brother, he went to sea. A lot of men, they get these in the Orient.
This notch in the flesh is fresh. It's still clotted. The killer did this.
You think it was part of the struggle?
Too deliberate.
It's a latitudinal coordinate. If you mark the angle of the sun at the highest point of the day, it tells you how far you are from the equator, north to south. It's useless without longitude. Even in the Army, they teach basic navigation. I went to West Point. I was expelled, don't worry. Fields, look there.
Give me a scalpel. His tongue has been removed. And this has replaced it.
What's it for?
Longitude. Pen and paper. He's giving us a location.
Open up! Open the door!
Where's Hamilton? Hamilton!
What's happened?
We need to use your navigational maps.
Celestial almanacs as well.
Why?
He's given us the location of Emily.
This watch is mine. I thought I'd lost it. The killer left this?
On the dead sailor.
In, to be more exact.
Not a gall.
Along with the latitudinal coordinates.
Incredible.
You must forgive me. I have no background in navigational techniques.
Plot an exact position.
You need 3 things: a sextant, an accurate chronometer, and a celestial almanac. Celestial almanac tells us the exact time at which the sun hits its zenith.
Exact noon. Shall I bring some more,
Leave
sir?
it. Please. It's all right, Percy. Get another. If you will watch set at Greenwich Mean Time, you can calculate how far east or west of Greenwich, London you are.
12, 27, 28, rather.
Which one, damn it?
28.
12:28, right?
Yes.
Longitude is a measure of time, east or west. Latitude, distance from the equator, that's north and south. 17 degrees north.
The West Indies? It can't be. He couldn't have transported her that far.
Yeah. No, that's impossible. Danish West Indies is a 2-week journey.
It's not an island. St. Croix. Holy Cross. Holy Cross.
Holy Cross Church, that's our parish.
You and the others run back. Spread out. Need to break a window. We must get inside. Emily! Come on! Northwest corner! John! Coming, John. He's over here! There! Black horse!
Field! Get him! Find him, Edgar! Go!
Paul!
Oh. The killer escaped. My horse is gone. What about Fields? He was shot.
He's at Doc Clemens. What with you?
Paper goes to press in 3 hours.
It was an empty grave. It had Emily's name on it. That was his clue. That's why he sent us there.
Perhaps. We're gonna kill again.
I'm sorry, Poe. This is my fault. I should never have gone ahead with the ball.
These are my stories. Your daughter's love for me is the reason another man's dead. Go to Doc Clemens. I have one more story to write.
Edgar. For today, she's still alive.
Doctor, let me go! Let me go! We're running out of time!
For God's sake, you've got a bullet in your chest. Now lie down and let me do my job before you bleed to death.
This son of a bitch is gonna kill her today. So you cut the bullet out and you patch me up now!
There's a bottle of whiskey in the kitchen. Bring it here.
What the hell is that?
Magnet. I need to find the bullet before I can cut it out. Soak that pillowcase in the whiskey, then give the rest to him. He'll need it.
The gossamer white of bone was now visible beneath the tattered meat of her fingertips as Emily clawed madly at the wooden slats of her coffin. A desperate, drowning animal. The dirt rose around her, the inescapable sand of an hourglass as her final breath of air slipped her into the twilight of consciousness until... He knew now that all hope was lost. He had failed his beloved, and there was but one last thing left to do. One last act.
A final desperate plea. One life offered for another's. Oh, Mr. Poe, no. No, you can't.
Set the print, Ivan.
But, sir...
Do it!
You can't take it as your fault, Mr. Poe.
Is there someone else you'd like to blame?
It's the killer who's to blame, sir.
Let me read that.
Sir, I need to...
Poe could feel the poison already feeding on his blood, as the maggots were soon to do. Jesus, Edgar.
Are you making enough money, Henry?
Mr. Poe, don't!
Sell!
Mr. Poe! Mr. Poe!
Please, sell! Mr. Poe!
You madman! I'll have you thrown in jail, you damned animal!
I'll send you to hell! Huh? Hell!
Mr. Poe, don't. It's not worth it.
Clement!
Sorry, Mr. Poe. I fell asleep waiting for you and the inspector.
What time is it?
Just past 6, sir. The paper's here for you. Rather remarkable seeing that people are stealing others' papers. They can't print enough of them between the election today and this horrible killing they keep writing about. There's something else for you, Mr. Poe.
It is a masterpiece, Mr. Poe. An epitaph worthy of your gifts. When did this come?
I don't know exactly, but before the paper was delivered.
How do you know that?
It was underneath the paper.
Impossible. Look at the streaks in the ink.
I don't understand. I'm sorry, Mr. Poe.
It's been rained on.
It rained last night before dawn.
But the newspaper is bone dry.
I'm not sure what... The paper was delivered later, after it stopped raining.
This note was written in response to what I wrote in this newspaper. He delivered the note before the paper. So he knew the story in advance. He had already read it.
Where's my gun?
Henry, you're gonna tell me where she is. Henry!
Tell me, where is she? Ivan.
Surprised?
Where is she?
Dying. More quickly than I expected. So I had to speed things along and deliver the morning edition so you could finally realize it had to be none other than your humble typesetter and biggest fan. Drink? You don't know how I've looked forward
forward to this moment, sir. Sit here like this. No more masks. Artist to artist.
Artist to artist.
Though I admit, as I read your final chapter, I felt more muse than artist.
You're mad.
Really, Mr. Poe? You're one to talk.
Where is Emily?
Where is Emily? Just like that. No probing the devious twists and turns of man's darkest motives. No prying into the mysteries of his conscience. So very unlike you, Mr. Poe.
Where is she?
Ow. Rather disappointing denouement, I have to say. But that's life, isn't it? So much less satisfying than fiction.
It's time this story comes to an end.
Very well. Give me the gun. You've come this far, Mr. Poe. Are you really gonna back out now? You know what happens next. You are the one who wrote it, after all. You either pull that trigger and kill me and young Miss Emily, or you give me the gun.
She will live.
That was your solution, right? I have to admit, I don't cry easily, but you had me bawling like a baby. And I've always had a fancy for poisons. That's how I done my dad. The idea of drinking something that will kill you, but having time to carry on a conversation is, as they say, fraught with dramatic possibilities, right? Listen to me. Talking about dramatic possibilities with one of the greatest writers of our time. But I must say, it has been a profound honor working with you, sir.
Working with me?
Well, I know they're your ideas, and I'm just borrowing. Except for Valdemar's tongue, that was me. Quite the subtle metaphor, I thought.
Subtle? It made no sense at all. Even in the end, I'm confronted by plagiarists without even the originality to invent themselves. I've concocted you.
I couldn't agree more. I am your crowning achievement. Your masterpiece. In whose world do we each exist right now, Edgar? Mine or yours? I don't really know the answer. It's quite brilliant. Well, go on, sir. Bottoms up.
I need a carriage now!
Inspector!
Get a carriage and send a messenger to Charles Hamilton's house. Tell him to get to the Baltimore Patriot. Do it!
So it has been written. I will die today. A hole of moldering earth awaits. It is a just end to a man consumed by death his entire life. Emily, take this kiss upon my brow.
Really good stuff, sir. A poet to the end. I suppose this bit is for Miss Hamilton.
Where is she? Where is she?
I tell you, Mr. Poe, I used to live for your stories. Just live for them. When you stopped writing, I guess I went a little nuts. But I kept on believing, even when you closed me out. I still believed in your vision. In a future where people would stand in lines to see the kind of things that only people like you and I could see. I knew you had one more in you, sir. No one will ever forget you. Have you ever been to France? There's a young writer over there, Jules Verne. You heard of him?
What? Harrison.
He really reminds me of you, sir.
Where is she? You owe me. Where is she?
Anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer.
The telltale heart. She's here. She's here.
On my way in just a moment. Goodbye, Mr. Poe. I've enjoyed our time together.
Reynolds. Emily! Answer me. Emily! Please answer me! Oh my God. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Emily, open your eyes.
Is it really you? I love you.
I'm here. I came for you. Okay. Stay awake. I have you. Always. We're going home.
You did me
Make way!
Where's Paul?
He was here a moment ago.
Paul!
Hurry!
Very safe. Very safe.
Go, go, go!
Sir, you are Edgar Poe, correct?
I am. For a few more minutes, anyway.
Are you all right? I mean, you look a little worse for wear. Is there someone I can call for you?
Reynolds.
You want me to find Reynolds? Does he have a first name?
No. Tell Fields. His last name is Reynolds.
I'm sorry, sir. You're not making much sense.
Tell Fields. Lord, help my poor soul.
Mr. Fields? I'm Dr. John Morgan.
Doctor, do you have a cause of death?
I'm sorry I don't. I have a few ideas, but as you know, he was brought in a very deranged state.
I'm told he was ranting.
Yes. He kept going on and on about telling you that your last name is Reynolds. Is that helpful or just gibberish?
Maybe both. Well, thank you for your help, Doctor. I'd be interested in hearing your final analysis.
Take this kiss upon thy brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream.
Le train permanent de Calais arrive sur le quai numéro 3. Merci, madame, monsieur.
Mr. Reynolds, please follow me to your carriage.
Le train permanent de Calais arrive sur le quai numéro 3. Merci, madame, monsieur.
Merci pour votre aide. Hello, Ivan.
Tomorrows, and I stand inside today. and burn my shadow away.